why would we think that? And go ahead on guard. And parry one and riposte. And without me demonstrating that a couple times, parry one and riposte. Good. One quick note, Rowan. Make sure don't square your shoulders up. So right now you're kind of coming like this, where you're facing with one. You're then bringing that shoulder forward. So you're gonna have to bring your one really far to protect yourself. So stay that sideways as you bring it to keep this back shoulder out. And again, parry one and riposte. Nice. Yeah, good adjustment. You did a good job keeping the shoulders in line. And two more times, parry one, riposte. And last one, parry one and riposte. Yeah, very good. Looks nice, guys. Just real quick, since whoever's coming in, definitely not late, and I figure it's starting the recording here. Scarlett, the big thing you missed in terms of new is going to be duck 1 and duck 2. I'll try to remember, but just in case I don't, remind me next class to go over duck 1 and duck 2 with you, just so you're not behind. All right, the other new stuff we haven't gotten to yet, so you're not behind on that. We did work out that sort of stuff. All right, so we're going to do parry 4. I know, Minette, you got brief, a little bit of parry 4 at the end of the last class, about 5 minutes. So we're going to go ahead, and since Rowan hasn't had it started just as if it was brand new. So if we take my cross right, deciding bodies up into my 4 quadrants of where I'm protecting, 6 defending here, 8 defending here, 1 really defends all of them. If you want to be really technical, 1 defends this back line here because it's technically like this is the standard one. We actually do what's called a high one generally. That's up here against the flesh. If you want to be technical. So the line we haven't worked yet is this one, which is 4. All right, so this back shoulder, the heart, assuming you're right-handed. For foil, this is the dominant parry. For epee, parry 6 is the dominant parry because it's protecting this arm. Foil, target is only neck and torso. So the arm isn't target. So since 4 covers a lot of this torso, that becomes the dominant parry for foil. So we're going to have 2 styles of 4. And Minette, I apologize, you've already heard the speech, but we're going to have a foil style and an epee style 4. The reason for this is they are pretty distinct and they have different strengths and different weaknesses. If you're ever working with another coach, there are a million other names these go by. You might hear beat or hold 4. That's pretty much the common other one. You might also hear frappe and croise or frappe and glissade, depending on school and stuff. I don't expect you to remember that, but just know they're all different ways of describing the motion of the 4. So the foil is going to be the one we learn first. Honestly, of every parry, it's probably the simplest. From your on guard, you bring it straight across your chest like this. The key here is keeping your wrist and your tip pointed at your opponent. So you want to have it come from the wrist rather than like this, where it's more of like a windshield wiper motion. Yeah, that looks very good. The key on this one is really blunt force. This one's not like a real technique heavy. It is really just about smacking their blade and getting it away from you. This is probably the one parry where strength plays a pretty big role rather than finesse. So again, come straight across. The idea is just to give a solid hit, knock their blade out, and then come for a riposte. The best place to hit on the riposte is the arm. So if you and I are fencing, right? You do a parry 4, I've extended, you're gonna do this beat style 4. You knock my blade out this way, which opens up the inside of my arm. So this is the best target. The reason why is if I hit it, I can bring it back in pretty quick, right? It gets hit, I kind of snap my arm back in. So you have a pretty small window of when you can hit. So if you're coming all the way into my chest, especially if you're coming this back shoulder, I might have enough time to get my tip in and score a double. So you want it to be beat, hit to the arm. Obviously, you don't have an arm to practice on. That's more just kind of the mental imagery of it. So go ahead, a few times practice this. I'll call them out. It's not super hard, but on guard. And parry 4 and riposte. Yeah, and the riposte can simply be an extension for this. and a guard, parry 4, and riposte. And one last one, parry 4, and riposte. Nice. So just one quick tip, it'll be hard to feel this when you're not with an opponent, but just once you're actually with an opponent and you have a blade to give you a little bit extra power, I like to recommend starting out slightly in supination, and as you come across, switching over into a slight pronation, because this snap of the wrist gives it a lot more power. And even if you're just doing just this portion, you can get a pretty decent beat. So once you combine the two of them, you can get a really solid hit on the blade to really clear it a little more. Because this one really, the harder you can strike the blade, but keep your tip in line, the more time you'll have to make that riposte. You know, if it's a little light hit, you'll have maybe a tenth of a second. If it's a good solid one, you might have half a second or so to riposte, a little bit more time. All right, so the next one, the one that's a little bit more complicated, is the épée style 4, or the hold 4, or the croisé 4, or plissade 4. So it's going to start the same way. From your en garde, it comes straight across your chest. The difference is it's not going to be a strike, so you're not hitting it. You're just coming across to place your blade against it and to move it. So from here, you're going to extend at your opponent, keeping your wrist out. So it's going to come like this, where your wrist stays out and your tip angles back in. All right. Then from here, when you lunge to make a riposte, you'll lunge and keep that arm position. If you're a right-handed fencer fencing another right-handed fencer, you're going to parry it, and the idea is you're going to try to come in to this shoulder. Usually the easiest place to hit is the top of the shoulder into the neck with this. All right. So again, from your en garde, across your chest, extend, keeping that wrist out at that awkward angle, and then lunging. Good, and back to your en garde. Make sure throughout this whole thing you keep this angle in your wrist and your arm. If you let it go like this, you've let the parry go, and they're going to be able to fight back in and be able to score. And en garde. And hold 4, extend, and lunge. And back to your en garde. And hold 4, extend, and lunge. Good. And back to your en garde. And like 2 more times, just with me watching. And again, it's that wrist and arm angle that makes this one awkward. And hold 4, extend, and lunge. Good. Back to your en garde. Everyone's doing a good job keeping that wrist out there. Very nice. One more. And hold 4, extend, and lunge. And back to your en garde. Very nice. Okay. If you have a target, I'd recommend go ahead, grab your target for this one, as it'll make it a little bit more interesting. If you do not have a target, no worries. You can practice it in the air. Starting next week, if you can have a target, that would be excellent, because I would really like to start working some accuracy drills. So, targets. You got, give you a little rest and take a quick tangent. The easiest target, the one that I recommend if you own a fencing mask, chair and a mask. Some chair that it's not the end of the world that it gets hit, and be able to take a mask, stick it on there, and use that. Manette, as I believe you don't have a fencing mask, find an object that you don't mind stamping. I recommend things like a cardboard box. Works great, simply because, you know, it can take some hits. If you punch through it, it's not really a big deal. It's not something that you need. If you have anything like an old towel that you don't care for anymore, maybe you were planning on throwing away anyways, you can kind of bundle that up and stick it on a chair, something like that, just so it can absorb an impact. We are also going to practice some foot touches at a point, so a shoe will make a great target for that. You could also literally just put the shoe on the chair. And again, I tend to recommend using a chair just because I want a target that's at least like hip level at the very least. If you can get a little bit higher chair that can make it more chest level, that's awesome. But it might be hard to find a chair that's that tall. Cool. If you need any help with like target ideas or anything, feel free to DM me. I can help you find it. If you have a mask though, totally the best thing, because it's literally designed to take hits from an épée. So, all right. So we have now learned 4 parries, but kind of 5, since we know 2 different variations on the 4. All right. So now the key is going to be, can you remember what the heck they are rapidly? All right, so I'm going to call out parry 6, parry 8, parry 1, and I'll say either beat 4 or hold 4. So again, beat 4, also known as the foil 4, is the snap and go. Hold 4, also known as épée 4, is the one that comes across and stays out at that angle. All right, so you've got 5 options. You'll make the parry, you'll riposte with a lunge, except on parry 1. Parry 1, lunging in parry 1, while possible, is very awkward. So I'm not going to make you do that. So instead, it'll be parry 1, take 2 advances, and make your riposte. Realistically, you'd only do 1 if your opponent was coming at you, but since the chair can't move at you, you'll just have to make do and advance yourself. If you're using the air as a target, you can just do 1 advance because it'll feel more natural. All right? Any questions? Anyone need review on any of the 5 options? Cool. Go ahead and make your own guard. Parry 8, riposte. Beat 4, riposte. Parry 6, riposte. Parry 6, riposte. Parry 1, riposte. Hold 4, riposte. Parry 8, riposte. Beat 4, riposte. Parry 6, riposte. Parry 1, riposte. Keep going. I'm just going to watch you guys now. So you don't have me as to demonstrate, but I want to make sure you guys are getting them right and everything. Back to your on guard. Parry 6, riposte. Parry 8, riposte. Hold 4, riposte. Beat 4, riposte. Parry 1, riposte. Yeah, very good. Go ahead and take a rest. It looks like you guys got them down. I didn't see anyone do the wrong parries that I called out. The only thing is sometimes speed. It was on a couple of them a little bit of hesitation, like, oh yeah, it's that one, and then going. But in terms of like choosing correctly, I didn't see any mistakes. So very nice, good job. This is one we'll do this kind of basic where I call out a parry, and then you do it, and then you do some sort of riposte. We will do this a lot with variations. So I'll start making it harder. I'll do things like beat 4, flesh, parry 8, advance lunge, that sort of stuff to mix it up. But this kind of basic format, just to help you review all of them and kind of ingrain it into your brain, which one is which, we'll do fairly frequently. But good job for today. All right, so we're gonna learn one last concept for today, which is going to be disengages. All right, disengages, I was like debating whether or not to like do them on an online format just because it's weird and it doesn't play super well without someone actually trying to parry. But I was like, we have to do them just because they're so like key to fencing. So I apologize in advance. They will feel a little weird because the whole purpose of a disengage is to avoid a parry. Obviously, you don't have anyone who's parrying you, thus you don't have a parry to actually avoid. So it's going to be a little bit of an abstract concept. But this will also help you remember your parries. Because if I say they're trying to parry 6, and so you'll need to disengage that, you have to first remember, well, which one is parry 6 and what does that look like? So if an opponent is trying to do that, what are they going to look like, right? So parry 6 goes this way, right? So it would take the blade out to my right. But if an opponent's doing that, if I've extended, it goes out to my opponent's right because they mimic the same motion. So it's mirrored, so it comes out this way, right? So being able to keep that in your brain and stuff will help you on your own parries. Okay? So disengages, in terms of technique, super simple. In terms of application, not nearly so simple. So a disengage simply involves you making a little circle with your blade in the same direction that they're going. All right? So if I'm going to try to parry 6, their blade is here, I'm going to take 6, riposte, right? The key is as I come around from my circle and I get about right here, they're just going to go in the same direction. And if I try again, they'll go in the same direction. And so the disengage again would simply be a circle going in the same direction as the way the parry is coming. All right. So this is kind of that. I think I briefly mentioned the other day the idea of non-resistance. Fencing is pretty big on that, like a couple of martial arts, because this isn't a very large weapon, right? For us in modern days, right, any sword's a sword, and it seems maybe fairly large. But if you've ever worked with any other swords, you will realize that blade-wise, it is super freaking thin. So compared to certainly something like Claymore or a bastard sword or something like that, it is very small. But even compared to like pretty much any other sword, whether it be a katana, scimitar, whatever, it's a small blade, right? So it's not meant for big power. It's not really meant to be able to fight through someone's weapon. Most of the time, it's just going around it, okay? So that's what this disengage is. So again, bear with me. I know it's going to take a little bit of abstract thought. Go ahead, grab your blade, make your on guard. So we are now going to be the attackers. Most of the time we've been practicing against the defenders, right? Parries are all defensive, and then we're just making a riposte. Now we are the initial attack. So you're going to extend at your opponent's 6th line, your opponent's. So aiming again here at this shoulder. Now they're going to try to do a parry 6, and you're going to disengage it by drawing just a small circle around. All right. So if my blade is pointed here, their blade is going to come like this. It's going to come underneath mine and then out and take it out to the right, like so. All right. So as they're coming, I'm going to circle. Well, my arms don't really work for this. As they come here, it's going to circle the same way and go around. Okay. So extend, aim at their imaginary parry 6 line. As they try to parry, disengage and just draw a circle around. And again, circle around and circle around. And just do it a couple times. Again, like I said, technique-wise, it's drawing a circle in the air. There's nothing too crazy with it. It's more the ability to read which parry they're doing. All right, so we're going to do the same in the 8 line now. So the main thought exercise here, and unfortunately it does kind of have to be a thought exercise, I apologize, is aiming at the thigh. Bye, Wilbert. Aiming at the thigh. They're going to parry 8. Welcome back, Wilbert.
Hello, I seem to have frozen.
It's all right, no worries. So you're going to aim at their thigh. Now, again, think, you're aiming here. They're coming around to parry like this. What does that look like on their side? Yeah? So you extend, aiming at their thigh. Now, and again, I apologize, my arm's not perfect for this, but they're going to come over my blade and out like this and take it out to the right, like this. So I am going to circle up and around and back to the thigh. A key with the disengage too is you want to come back to where you were originally aiming. So I start aimed at the thigh, I avoid the parry, I come back to the thigh. Again, I disengage, back to the thigh. And go ahead and rest. Last one we'll do is against the parry 4. So I'm aiming at their shoulder. Again, the parry 4, it's coming straight across. It doesn't actually matter whether they're doing a beat 4 or a hold 4 because it comes the same direction. The main difference would be the speed. So you extend, you imagine that they're going to come across their body. So you're going to dip underneath and come around. And as they come across, you dip underneath. So again, like I said, technique on this is nothing crazy. It's literally just drawing a little circle. 2 big things that I want to stress on this. It's a small circle, right? So if I try to disengage and I go, yes, I do technically avoid the parry, but this is not fast. And most people can go parry and what are you doing? I'm just going to parry a second time and hit you, right? The advantage here is the disengage can be smaller than the parry, and thus it's quicker. So if you know, all right, I'm fencing, so I'm going to pick on you, Wilbert. I'm fencing Wilbert, right? Wilbert loves parry 6. Freaking, I know every time I attack Wilbert, he's going to parry 6. This is actually me as a side note. I freaking love parry 6. You can attack my foot and I still might 6. You come out, it's like, I know he's going to go 6, right? So I'm going to prep my disengage. I'm going to have it mentally there. I come out, oh, I see the 6, and I disengage. It's much faster than a parry. So if you can plan ahead, you can easily avoid someone's parries. This is especially good if they're stronger than you, right? Don't bother trying to fight them. Don't even bother trying to parry and have the fight with their blade. Just avoid it. The blades don't touch at all. It doesn't matter how strong you are, right? You're not able to use it. So this is where speed and technique can overcome someone who's much stronger than you. All right, so what we're going to do here, and again, this is going to be a little bit of brain work. I'm going to have you aim center line on an opponent, so basically somewhere in here, kind of center chest, center stomach. I'm going to say they're doing a parry 6, parry 8, or parry 4. Your job is to disengage against that and then lunge. Okay, so if you mess up, don't worry about it. Like, it's not a big deal. It is honestly easier drill to do when you actually see their blade, because at least if you can't visualize it, you can maybe catch the moment and see them trying to parry and be like, oh yeah, okay, so I need to go this way. But we're going to try it in the abstract. So go ahead, make your on guard, extend at their center line, and your opponent is trying a parry 6. So disengage their 6 and lunge, and then back to your on guard. And extend. They're trying a parry 8. They're trying a parry 4. They're trying parry 6. They're trying parry 6. They're trying parry 8. They're trying parry 4. They're trying parry 8. Let me see a couple more where I can watch it. Rather than they're trying every time, I'll just say 6, 8, or 4. Ready? 4. Yeah, everyone's correct. 6. Well, 8. 8. Good job, Annette. I saw you made the mistake in the first one. That one was good, though. Nice. 4. Last one, 6. Yeah, actually, I'm impressed, because honestly, it's hard to like be able to think, okay, they're parrying, then they're doing this. Now I have to go this direction. Like, honestly, like, I don't think I could have done that if I had been fencing for 2 weeks and had never actually fenced someone. So good on you guys. You actually were quite clean, and they looked quite good. This is something that will play better when you're actually fencing someone, because you'll be able to see it, and a lot of times just seeing the motion will be enough to kind of cue you, okay, this is the way I need to go. A quick tip to disengages. Because you're doing a circle, there are only 2 directions you can circle. You can circle clockwise, or you can circle counterclockwise, right? So you will find that the disengages against multiple parries is the exact same motion. All that changes is where you're aiming. So for instance, I'm trying parry 4, right? The disengage takes it underneath and back up. If I'm trying parry 8, the disengage takes it underneath and back up. It's the same motion. It's just one is aimed here and comes this way, and one is aimed here and comes around. All right, same for 6. That one comes around underneath and around the other direction. And we haven't learned 7, but that'll be the same way. So once you get the 2 directions that it can go down, it gets pretty smooth. The main difficulty will be which one do I use, right? Because if you choose incorrectly, you're going to bring your blade directly into the path of their parry, and then they have a huge advantage because they're going to be catching the weak part of your blade, the strong part of their blade. And you're almost certainly not going to win a pushing contest. Maybe if they're an 8-year-old girl and you're a bodybuilder, you might be able to beat them out. Other than that, chances are they win the strength contest there because of leverage. Okay? Any questions on anything we did today, whether it be disengages, pray for, ducks, anything like that? No? Okay. Just as a side note, because I love ducks, and as Wilbert knows, because he fences at OFC, the Korean style is very heavy on ducks. They really, really love ducks. If you get a chance to watch some of the top Korean fencers, great examples would be Park Sung-young and Jin Sun-jung. If you care, I can put that in the group me or whatever. They are the masters of the duck, and Korea kind of the duck 2 that we use, I can't say is their invention, but it's kind of like their perfection, where they started to turn the duck into this offensive technique where now they'll sometimes do it where the opponent's not even attacking, but they'll like jump forwards into that duck and they'll cover, 6 feet with the jump, and then they'll hit them right on the bottom of the hand beautifully. So it is super effective. And it is super satisfying to pull off in a match. You get someone, you just watch their blade sail over you, and you're just like, boop. So yeah, if you have any interest in watching some of that in action and the speed that it needs to happen, especially if you're talking avoiding an Olympic level flesh, it has to be like lightning quick. But yeah, really, any of the top Korean fencers are really strong at it. All right, cool. I think that's our time for today. Just for the purpose of the recording, again, Scarlett, Duck 1 and Duck 2, you haven't actually learned yet. Remind me next time you're here. I'll try to remember, but if I don't, remind me to show you them. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Wilbur. Better late than never.
Yeah, I suppose.
And I will see you next Monday. Bye. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.